Would you bow your head, please, and let's pray. Father, we thank you for this day. Thank you for getting us all here safe. And Father God, we ask you to give us a safe race today. Watch over all the track personnel and drivers and their pit crews. It's hot. We're out here doing something that we all love. And we just pray you give us wisdom to know how to react and when to sit down and rest. So we thank you for giving us a safe race. We pray for our troops, wherever they may be stationed in the world. Father God, and I pray a special prayer for our wounded warriors, that you'd help them, strengthen them, encourage them, and rebuild their lives. We ask this prayer today in Jesus' name. Amen.
Please remain standing for the playing of our national anthem. Well, thanks so much, everybody. Real quickly, just wanted to say one more time that our thoughts and our prayers go out to the family of Dylan Johnson, a local driver, second-generation driver, his father Todd. And Dylan competed locally and will certainly be missed. Dylan Johnson, and hopefully I can say this and not crack up, was the exact same age as my son. Young man went into cardiac arrest and died in his sleep the other night, just a couple of nights ago. So, family certainly devastated by this. So our thoughts and our prayers from all of us here at Memphis International Raceway are with the Johnson family. And Godspeed to our young friend Dylan. All right, attention to the pits, attention to the pits. Listen up, drivers, this announcement's for you. Door cars to the staging lanes, lanes 1 and 2. Door cars to the lanes, lanes 1 and 2. Attention to the pits, door cars to lanes 1 and 2. Door cars, lanes 1 and 2. It is race day in Memphis. All right, here we go. And wherever you are in the pits or on the World Wide Web, we're streaming live over 4 different websites, a 4-camera setup, which I believe is for only the second time in big money bracket racing history. This right here has to be the biggest bracket race that's taken place in the Mid-South since the 2009 Million. Often imitated, here you go, Paul. often imitated but never duplicated, Memphis International Raceway. For the best come to race, and they've done it right here today. Here are the door cars, round number 1 of the Race Data Shop, Dixie House Cafe, Ironman 50K. This is round number 1 of the Brodich Twin Tens. Carlos Diaz Reyes from San Juan, Puerto Rico, made the tow. He's headed down the left side of the racetrack. Terry Sawyer out of Conroe, Texas, trying to run him down. Look at that. Texas takes out Puerto Rico in the first pair of the Twin 10. Sawyer, 19 on the tree, dead on 4. 23 package. Reyes did all he could. He was 005 on the tree, couldn't run the number. He was 97 on a 95. Craig Toy from Arkansas goes red. Travis Eaton, your winner. Eaton goes around number 2. Rick Taylor, Rick's Powder Coating. This ought to be a good race right here. Rick Taylor, the Rick's Powder Coating team. Chevy Shoebox Station Wagon. C-Dish, Clint Dishman, the Bruce, Mississippi runner. Driving the car that Brian Robinson's driven before. Adam Davis drove it for a while. That clean-looking Chevy Vega. These two guys are primetime players locally. There goes C-Dish. Here comes Rick Taylor. Tried to run him down top end. No, sir. Dishman, 009. Dead on 4. 13 package. 12 missed a tree. Derek Hubbard, your winner last weekend in foot brake, won his way into the race. Last weekend at the Mega Dollar event, won the very race here, driving for Bobby Irby. Off and running, there they go. Underwood. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Underwood was 14 on the tree, 6 on the dial. 23 package. Hubbard broke out by a foul trying to stay out in front. Bill Connolly, Chris Edison. Connolly, the Alabama runner in the Camaro. Edison, the Mineral Wells, Texas runner in the Corvette crop top. Started to say drop top, but there's nothing to drop. Head start going to the Camaro by about 0.2 of a second. Off and running, top end, wind light, goes to Texas. Connolly broke out. Edison, clean and green, goes 32 with a 7 on a 31. If you're checking out the action on racedatashop.com or dragstory.com, a couple of other websites, a 4-camera setup, unheard of anywhere in this part of the country, never been done before until you see it right here this weekend at the Ironman 50K. Frank Cahotek, the Mesquite, Texas runner in the Vega. I believe that's A.J. Ash driving for Dale Simon in the Coca-Cola side. Dale Simon, the Dixie House Cafe, saw him out in the pits, said, absolutely, thanks so much for being here and racing this weekend. There goes the Texas runner. Here comes A.J. Top end, Windlight, Texas. Frank, 14 on the dial, 6 on the tree, 20 thou package. A.J. broke out by 3 thou trying to take the win. Landry Ford, the Gulfport, Mississippi runner. taking on Ron Minton. Minton lives about 15 minutes from here. Races here locally. Tried to come out and try to swing for the big bucks in the Barracuda. There goes the CUDA. Here comes that hard-charging Chevy 2. Yes, sir. 007 on the tree. Minton broke out by fourth thou. The Mississippi runner moving on into round number 2. Kenny Peace, the Dyersburg, Tennessee runner. The 1964 Chevy 2 times. Chris Fulcher. I'm digging the Rambler. Is that not a cool car? Forget if you're listening out there on the PA system, listen to 100.3 on your FM dial. You get dialed right here into the tower. Off and running, there they go. A couple of Tennessee runners. Winlight, right side, Coca-Cola side. Fulcher, dead on 7, take the win. Peace broke out. Charlie Bottoms, a Rogersville, Arkansas runner. Carlos Diaz-Reyes, Coca-Cola side, San Juan, Puerto Rico. So glad to have you here this racing this weekend. All right, attention to the pits. Dragsters to the staging lanes. Arkansas, Puerto Rico, here they go. Winlight goes to hook to Arkansas. He goes 62 on a 61. And don't forget, buybacks are available. Buybacks are available. Dragsters to the staging lanes, lanes 3, 4, 5, and 6. Once again, dragsters to the staging lanes, lanes 3, 4, 5, and 6. Greg Spencer, the Goodlettsville, Tennessee runner in the Camaro. Ryan Dillman, out of Indianapolis, Corvette crop top. That's not a drop top, it's a crop top. They just cropped it right off the car. There goes the Camaro. Here comes that Corvette, charging hard, top end. Winlight says, Indianapolis, your winner. Dillman goes 5:08.9 to 1:27 on 5:05 to take the win. Good drivers, buybacks are available in the tower. Buybacks available in the tower. Next up, Alan Jarvis, the New Albany, Mississippi runner in the pickup truck. Johnny Labute Jr. Jarvis and Caboose. Here comes the Caboose. Winlight, look at that. Alan Jarvis takes out Labute. Labute out in round 1. Jarvis goes 12 on the tree, dead on 7. 18th thou package. Labute was 18 on the tree. Had to be perfect on the dial to win. He couldn't do it. Labute will have to buy his way back in. Travis Eaton, the Waynesboro, Tennessee runner. Jeff Sams out of Noblesville, Indiana in the Camaro. Red light start for Sam's. Eaton takes the win, goes 6:01 on 6:04. Waynesboro, Tennessee runner. All right, folks, we're going to take a little bit of a break right now. The wind is obviously kicking up really, really hard. We don't want anything to happen. We don't want race cars going down the racetrack while the wind's whipping around as hard as it is right now. We're going to take just a bit of a break and check out the weather situation. Checking it out right now, double checking right on our weather.com. We are going to take just a bit of a break, and hopefully this will die down. We'll be right back to racing action. So certainly kind of waiting for everything to die down a little bit. It looks as if we're going to be spared by the rain that's kind of in the area. But there was some dust blowing across the racetrack, and we certainly want to make sure the racetrack is prepared. So we're going to kind of take care of that. Kind of what we're in right now, in just a little bit of a holding pattern for the weather right now. Then once we go back, we'll let you know. But we are going to do a little bit of track prep and try to clean up where some dust blew off onto the track. Looks as if it's right around just past the 8th mile mark, but we certainly want to take care of that. But we'll let you know when we're going back to racing action. All right, looks as if this isn't going to take too long, so dragsters, attention in the pits. Attention in the pits. Dragsters to the staging lanes. Dragsters to the staging lanes. Lanes 3, 4, 5, and 6. Again, lanes 3, 4, 5, and 6. Dragsters. Round number 1 of the Brodix Twin 10s to the staging lanes, please. And the Brodix Twin 10s kicking off everything here this weekend at the Race Data Shop, Dixie House, Cafe Ironman 50K, presented by RacingJunk.com. Tomorrow the main event, that is the 50K Saturday, $50,000 to win. $10,000 the runner-up. Tons of prizes going to racing for the best losing package from our friends at Mickey Thompson, Hoosier, Goodyear, Quick Fuel, Folk Race Cars, Fab Shop, K&R, and Brodix. Each one of them either valued at $500 in product certificates or in actual product. So how cool is that? Sir, thank you so much from the manufacturers for making it possible. Thanks so much for the folks from B&T for having their racer support trailer out here today. They certainly show that they support the racers. Racers, we certainly encourage you to support the racers, to support the companies that support the racers. Folks like BTE. Rick's Powder Coating just signed on to be a partner here at the Memphis International Raceway. Glad to see Rick Taylor here. Taylor driving 2 cars. He's got his door car and his dragster here. Over at his shop the other day over on Democrat Road. He does a great job. If you're building a car or rebuilding a car, you certainly want to powder coat the chassis. You don't want any rust kind of setting in on it, kind of weakening the chassis at all. Make sure you have it powder coated by our good friends at Rick's Powder Coating. All right, here we go. If you're not in the staging lanes, you need to be there. This is round number 1 of the Brodix Twin 10s. Odd number of door cars just worked out, so Greg Brotherton part of the Brodix team. They'll be taking on Randy Seal, the Pontotoc, Mississippi runner, in the pickup truck over on the Coca-Cola side. Jansen, your brother has got a brand new, I believe he's got a blower car that he's been racing a little bit this year.
No, actually, we haven't.
Oh, M&M sound like they're branching out, building some of the pro mods. All right, here's Greg Brotherton and Randy Seal. Seal off and running. Here comes the Arkansas runner. Winner over in the Arkansas side. Summit side goes 5:06, 113 miles per hour. Seal couldn't run the number. There you have it, the latest news from M&M. They're branching out, building a 1953 Corvette, is that right?
Yep, Corvette Pro Mod.
There you go. You'll look for it on the racetrack coming soon. Here's Jeremy Watkins and Bobby Johns. Watkins out of Rolla, Missouri. The runner over in the Summit side. Bobby Johns from Tampa, Florida in the Coke side. Winlight going to Florida in the Coca-Cola side. Johns your winner. Double breakout. He breaks out by 9th thou. Jeremy Watkins broke out by a little bit more than that. So you guys probably have Jansen, you guys probably have a bunch of customers out there in the pits right now.
Yeah, we got a handful. There's a lot of people I don't see here. Talking 106 degrees. Temperature's probably pushing 130. It's bad conditions right now. It's hard. A lot of people's got family at home. Stay out of the heat. I don't blame them.
Well, I don't blame them too, but I tell you what, the guys that are here are absolutely dedicated racers. You can't take that from them at all. Here's Tyler Eccles, the Halton, Texas runner over in the Coca-Cola side. Dakota Lowry came all the way from Calumet, Florida, and he is over in the Summit side. 2/100ths of a second going to the Florida runner over in the Summit side. Hey, Jansen, did you check out the 4-camera video shoot that's going on over on the internet yet?
No, I actually haven't. I hadn't had time. We left real late last night and went to Tunica.
I'll tell you what, Tunica will do that to you for sure. Florida in the Summit side. Coca-Cola side, that's Texas. Red light start out of Texas. Florida, your winner. Lowry goes 484 on 487. He'll be dialing it under next round, 142 miles per hour. There you have it, Jay-Z. Jay-Z going to be a dad. And I know that that's some special news right there. I remember those days myself. That is super special. Charlie Coates goes red by 4th thou. Winlight Coca-Cola side, he goes under by 4th thou. But he's moving on to the next round. Well, anyway, Jansen, we were talking about, right now you can look on racedatashop.com and on dragstory.com too. There's a 4-camera setup. You see it on the starting line, about half track, just at the finish line, and then looking on down track. Super, super cool setup. I believe it's the only second time it's ever been done.
Yeah, I think Rondo and Cal Sapples.
I think it's Race Data Shop at dragstory.com, streaming live right now. There goes Brian Anglin and Dylan Bontrager. Winlight goes to Dylan Bontrager, the Texas runner. He goes 479 on 140. Anglin broke out by a bunch. I'm just going to check out some action on the far end. Got to make sure that everything's okay out there. You never know what might have happened. I want to make sure we didn't miss anything while we're going on the track prep. You know, Jansen, certainly safety first right here at Memphis International Raceway. All right, back to racing action. Here we go. Texas and Florida represented on the starting line. Wynette Hudgens taking on Don Hanson. Palm Beach Gardens, Florida came a long way to race this weekend. Tell you what, these primetime players, they'll go race anywhere in the country. They're in. Green lights a pair. Double breakout. Hanson, your winner. Hanson only broke out by 2 thou. Wynette missed the tree, had to run way under the number to try to take the win. Tell you what, you see, that was a good example, Jansen. You see cars from all across the country at some of the big money bracket races, like right here.
Yeah, you do, and like I said, these guys don't play around. They come.
Brandon Caples, the West Monroe, Louisiana runner, he's over in the Coca-Cola side. John Herring out of Mena, Arkansas. That's probably one of the Brodix guys right there. Herring dial 467, Caples dial 468. You won't see the difference if you're watching live on the interweb. Oh, you see it right there on the tree. Herring goes red, Caples 003, clean and green. Look at that. 3 thou package. Herring, he's 003 on the tree, perfect on the dial, 3 thou package. Hard to, not very much wiggle room Caples would have left anybody on that path.
No, 3 thou package is going to get it done 99.9% of the time. That was an excellent run. And the Caples showing he's in it to win it tonight here in the Brodix Twin Tens. Rashad Bakley out of Prescott, Arkansas. Cody Wiggins out of Keville, Kentucky. A couple of southern runners. Arkansas on the Summit side. Kentucky listed on the Coca-Cola side. Head start advantage going to Cody Wiggins. Wiggins used to drive juniors. Top end, win light goes Rashad Blakely, the Arkansas runner, moving on into round number 2. Now, you mentioned Cody Wiggins, the former junior drivers, so there's a lot of drivers out here that used to run in the juniors. Yeah, a couple come to mind. You know, you got Shane Stout. Oh, and he pops in my... Parents help them build on it.
Probably get one of those M&M juniors too, right?
Yeah, we built a few.
I knew you were going to say that. Danny Schubert, Olive Branch, Mississippi, the runner in Coca-Cola side. Wade White out of St. Bernard, Louisiana, over in the Summit side. Advantage going to the Coca-Cola side, off and running. Here comes that Louisiana runner, top end. Wind light goes to Louisiana. He's 10 on the tree. 6 on the dial, 16 thou package. He's getting it done, moving to round 2.
Yep, right, takes 12 thou, needed to take...
There we go, trying to do math. It's sometimes a little confusing up here. Not absolutely understand. Hey, here's a primetime player, Bart Nelson, coming all the way from Texas, going to see if he can get it done in round 1.
Yeah, Bart Nelson's I've seen in national...
Nelson came all the way from Texas. Levi Toke from Arkansas, the runner in the Summit side of the racetrack. So again, if you're checking out over on the interweb, 4 cameras, you can see that. Pretty cool. Only, to my knowledge, only the second time that's been done. First time was at the Spring Fling at Bristol. I believe now the coverage is kind of expanded to 4 different websites. We'll double check that. I think there's 2 more, but right now broadcasting live on dragstory.com and on racedatashop.com. Bart Nelson and Levi Togue. Nelson out of Texas in the Coca-Cola side, and Togue out of Arkansas over in the Summit side. They're in. Texas goes red. Levi missed the tree by a bunch, but he's the winner moving on. Nelson will have to buy his way back in. Togue goes 482 on 486, 143 miles an hour. He'll probably dial down a little bit for the next round.
Yeah, the temperature's definitely dropped. Alcohol responds to gas. You're definitely probably just from the front.
Probably has. You know, I didn't check that, but that's probably a good point right there. Here's Jason Rich out of Cookeville, Tennessee. Scott Cook out of Hillsboro, Missouri. Rich And the Summit side, Cook on the Coca-Cola side. Jansen Melton, J to the Z, sitting in doing some color commentary with us. Red light start, Rich misses it by 1 foul. Cook, look at him go. He's 004 on the tree. And Rich picked up about 600, so he'll definitely have to dial in if he buys back in the next round. Scott Cook, your winner, moving on into round number 2. A.J. Ash, the Gulfport, Mississippi runner, driving for Dale Simon. Tell you what, has Dale Simon got about 10 race cars out here, Jansen?
I think he's got about 10 back at home. I know he has 3 here.
Dale Simon, that's a race, the drag. Dixie House Cafe Special on the left side, driven by A.J. Ash. Alan Wickel, Saraland, Alabama. The runner on the Coca-Cola side died 478. Win light goes A.J. Ash. Your winner, double breakout, broke out the least. AJ broke out by 3 foul. Wickel was under by a bunch. AJ moving on into round number 2. Ryan Garner, Poplar Bluff, Missouri. Troy Williams Jr. I believe he's won the million before, if I'm right, Jim.
Yeah, Troy Williams. Winner's brother. Both, they grew up racing. They raced.
So Brian Garner, the local driver, goes red by 2 foul. T-Will went under by a bunch, but he'll have to definitely dial under for the next round. Williams, the winner on the red light by Brian Garner. Brian Garner have to buy his way back in. Williams from a racing family. They've won 3 of the millions, so to speak. Larry Meadows by Hialeah, Mississippi, the runner in the Coca-Cola side. Travis Cannon came all the way from Noble, Oklahoma, over in the Summit Racing Equipment side. Now, the announcer's advantage is directly behind the right lane of the racetrack here, if you're looking over live on the interweb. So what I have to do is I have to look for the logos like on the back of the rear end houses to tell who made the car.
Yeah, if you look at the blow shields, you can, most of them have their logo engraved.
Yeah, definitely right between the driver and the engine compartment. Win light goes to Travis Cannon, the Oklahoma runner, double breakout. He broke out the least. He was 003 on the tree. Meadows was 14, broke out more. Cannon only broke out by 9 foul. Don't forget, if you're not in the staging lanes, you should be there in lanes 3, 4, 5, and 6. You should be in the staging lanes 3, 4, 5, and 6. This is round number 1 of the Brodix Twin 10s at the Dixie House Cafe 50K. All right, back to action here. Ryan Richardson, second-generation racer. You know, maybe some folks will recognize the last name out there, Jansen.
Yeah, when you know drag racing. It's sportsman racing at its best. He's got a school and he's got 3 kids.
He was voted number 38 in the top 50 all time. Here's his son Ryan, left side. Brandon Seal beside him in the Coca-Cola side. Down the track they go. Win light. Wouldn't you know it, goes to Richardson. Like father, like son. There he goes. Ryan going to the next round. Moving on, Brandon Seal will have to buy his way back in. Margin of victory, just 10,000ths of a second. The double breakout for Ryan Richardson. Next up, John Benson, the Beeson, the runner out of Missouri. Tommy Kelly, a Louisiana runner on the Coca-Cola side. Jansen Melton of M&M Race Cars sitting in doing some color commentary with us. Over at the start, Kelly goes red. Beeson, the automatic winner, gets the advance in the next round. He goes 494 on 498. Again, we're seeing, Jansen, several of the cars running way underneath their dial-in.
Yeah, I'm looking at 5 to 600. So you're talking about weather temp coming down, the track temp probably 20, 30 degrees. Not uncommon to pick up 5, 6.
There you go. So definitely be a lot of dialing under the next round. A lot of breakouts going on here in round number 1 of the Brodich Twin Tens. Jimmy Smith, the Roanoke, Arkansas runner, taking on Jason Folk. Says he died from Red Bay, Alabama. I wonder if that's right. It can be right. I think all of them are from Illinois. Look at that. Pope took too much stripe, broke out. Margin of victory, 10 thou for Jimmy Smith. The Roanoke, Arkansas runner takes out Jason Folk. Justin Bowers from Munford, Tennessee, taking on Jeff Strickland. Hey, I'll tell you somebody who I think's starting to build good chassis. That's Corey Todd over at Corey Todd Performance Chassis.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Corey, I'm not sure.
Does build a good car. Jeff Strickland, Red Bay, Alabama. We know that he has certainly won a whole bunch of them. Second generation driver. His dad Don. I'll try to get that right. Long time runner. Jay Strick and Justin Bowers. Staging battle. Bowers goes in. Here comes Jay Strick. Identical off the line. Win light, Jay Strick. Double breakout. Bowers took too much stripe. Strickland goes 473 on 474. Winner, chicken dinner. Strickland moves on into round number 2. This right here is going to be a good matchup. Local driver, Cody, wanna-be-a player, Graham, taking on Troy Coughlin Jr., part of the Jegs team. Jegs, left side, the Summit side. Graham, right-hand side, Coca-Cola side. Graham goes red by 3 thou. It's because he's only driving with one hand. He's got a broke arm. He'll have to buy his way back in. They'll be steady stacking up buybacks. Buybacks are up in the tower right up here for the next round. Troy Coughlin going into round number 2. All right, here's the guy, and I gave him the nickname earlier in the day, and I don't know if it's going to stick, but as soon as he hears it, maybe he'll understand. Derek Hubbard, that's D-Hub, running out of comp cams, driving for Dan Lippy, the Danny Nelson Racecraft. Buddy Farrell, I believe his new nickname ought to be the Hitman because he's capable of taking anybody out at any time.
Buddy Farrell is just, he's amazing. I mean, he doesn't show age at all. He'll get it done. He goes 4th out red, but he's as tough as they come. He'll get done. You wait and see. He'll be in the late rounds.
He'll buy his way back in. D-Hub goes 009 on the tree. Broke out just a bit, but it was over at the start when the Hitman looked like he hit himself on that one. Bubba Smith and Stacy Tritch. Smith, the Mississippi runner. Tritch, the Arkansas runner. Another one of Danny Nelson's Racecraft. Best for Bubba Smith. And see, here's something I can never figure out because I always know the M&M cars have the coilover chassis, coilover shocks on the outside of the rear end chassis. But there are a couple of other manufacturers who do that too. Undercover's done it before. Cameron used to do it. And so you guys have got to start putting your logos on the back of the rear end housings too. For guys like me that can't see it. Win light goes Stacy Tritch. He was 004 on the tree. Double breakouts a pair. So maybe the guys ought to start dialing down. I don't know, but these guys are breaking out all over the place.
Yeah, it looks like those two are a little bit closer. I think people are starting to pick up on it. They should by now. I pay attention, you know, I'm sure drivers, I mean, they that you're going.
All right, Rick Taylor here in Byhalia, Mississippi. Rick's powder coating. I think he powder coats a lot of the M&M cars. Lee Ivey, the Benton, Kentucky runner over in the Coca-Cola side, goes red by 3 thou. Taylor cleaning green all the way. Hey, look at Rick Taylor. 005 on the tree, 5 on the tree, 2 on the dial, 7 thou package for Taylor.
Yeah, I'll take a 7 thou package any day. We're seeing a lot of red lights, the shaded tree.
Red light start for Ivy. Next up, David Eubanks, Jonesboro, Arkansas. Jesse Glenn, the runner right here out of Memphis, Tennessee, in the Coca-Cola side. Almost identical at the head, top end. Wind light goes to Eubanks. Glenn got there first, took too much tree. Double breakout. There we go. Double breakouts again. These guys are breaking out all over the place, Jensen.
Yeah, they are. Like I said. We dropped the temperature. Now we're...
Racetrack will be tightening up when the temperature goes down. Ryan Dillman, the Indianapolis runner on the Coca-Cola side. Stephen McCrory out of Taylorsville, Georgia. Good-looking car. Mosier M9 rear-end housing. You can see that logo from a mile away. Rory, Summit side. Dillman on the Coca-Cola side. Dillman tosses it at the start. McCrory, the Georgia runner, moving on into round number 2, goes 497 on a 503. Again, there he goes about 500 under. We've seen a whole lot of that here in round 1. Johnny Labute and Greg Roberts. I mean, is there anywhere Johnny Labute has not won, Jansen?
I honestly don't think there is. As long as there's a racetrack, he's probably won at it.
Johnny Labute. Matter of fact, Johnny Labute told me a story. I think it was a couple of years ago. He raced at Brainerd in Chattanooga on a Friday night. Drove all the way to Jackson, Tennessee to race at Jackson on a Saturday night, and slept on about 2 hours sleep and won at both tracks. I believe that was right.
I'm not sure about that story, but I will tell you this. Johnny Labute is probably the only racer that can drag a battery up to the start. He'll put it back together and win.
There you go. Labute over in the Summit side. Greg Roberts, the Tyler, Texas runner, in the Coke side. Uh-oh, look at that. Labute goes out in round 1. Roberts took him out. Double breakout. Labute took too much. Ought to be a good run right here. Jeff Bobo, this is the car that his son won for him last year on Father's Day.
Yeah, Jesse's doing really well. I think he's won. They've won 2 dragsters. Jesse's at 2 different races, and Matt Nelson. These are 2 veterans. They're local here. This is going to be a very
good race. 2 local drivers. Jeff Bobo right side, Danny Nelson Summit side. There they go. Wind light to Jeff Bobo in the racecraft. Tell you what, Danny Nelson just got beat by an old piece of his own machinery.
Yeah, that happens a lot. But if you're going to lose, what better way to lose than your own chassis?
There you go. Rather lose to one of your own. All right, Bob Henry. All right, Bob Henry. Henry in the race tech. Jeremy Maples out of Coweta, Oklahoma. Both the drivers have those monostrut wings out. M&M's came out with one of the monostrut wings too. I believe it's the all carbon fiber, if I'm right. Henry, perfect on the tree. Look at that. Bob Henry throws a 1 thou package. Jansen, tell him about it.
And 1 thou package would definitely get it. I don't even know what else to say.
Go. Henry trip zip on the tree, 1 thou over, showing he's in it to win it. All right, here we go. I think this is the little caboose. This might be a good run right here. Little caboose, Summit side. Jesse Bobo, that's the son who keeps winning. Call him Mr. Thursday. Out of Walnut, Mississippi, Bobo's Auto Electric and the Coca-Cola side. Double breakout again. Breakouts all over the place. Caboose only broke out by 2 thou. Bobo broke out by more. He's your loser. He'll have to buy his way back in. Caboose goes on to round number 2. Brandon Jarrell out of Ashland City, Tennessee. Looked like he had transmission problems earlier in time trials. Got it fixed. Kenny Smith out of Morgantown, Indiana. Came all the way down to run for the big bucks here in the Brodix Twin Tens here on Friday. The Ironman 50K. Light going to the door car. Look at that truck getting it done out there on the Coke side.
Yeah, all that hard work paid off. He's 009, 13.
Too bad. Moving on into round number 2. Tyler Roach out of Jonesboro, Arkansas. Dylan Bontrager out of Texas. 2 good young drivers right here on the starting line, Jansen.
Yeah.
Bontrager on the Coca-Cola side. Tyler Roach over on the Summit side. This ought to be a good matchup right here. Light, Tyler Roach, Bontrager breaks out by 6 thou. Roach goes 17 with a 6, 16 on the tree, 6 on the dial. I think that's 22 if my math adds up right. Jeffrey Jarrell, the Jolton Tennessee runner, taking on Mike Eccles out of Texas. All right, here we go. Tony Newberry and Stacy Carpenter. Carpenter came from Leroy, Alabama, the favorite son out of Leroy, Alabama. Newberry, here's another car somebody won. Matter of fact, I think Newberry won the car up at the Jegs race when it was in Indianapolis a few years ago. Raffle drawing. Yep, that's right. That's cool. So, hey, don't forget, you want to win a car too. Newberry just won this car a couple of years ago out of a raffle. You can win your car tonight, TNT. $30,000 race car. Carpenter goes red by 2. Newberry's cleaning green by 2. Goes under by a whole bunch of breakout. Breakout's still going on, Jeff.
Yeah, I'm not sure. People need to... I know,
tighten up a lot, and I would never say anybody was sandbagging. Would you? Oh, heavens no. All right, here we go. Next up, Brant Taylor out of Texas. Greg Brotherton, one of the Brodix team cars. Clean-looking hot rod. Taylor out of Texas in the Coca-Cola side. Brotherton, Mena, Arkansas. There's about 5 or 6 Brodix team cars here this weekend, looks like. Double breakout again. Brotherton, 4 on the tree, broke out the last. Taylor took too much stripe and broke out too much too. Brotherton moving on. Brad Taylor have to buy his way back in. All right, here comes Dad. We saw Son a while ago.
Yeah, this is the key.
King, oh man, you got to be kidding me. All right, well the King's wearing his crown. Timothy Smith going to try to knock him off his throne. The Roanoke, Alabama runner over to the Coca-Cola side. That looked like the nerves got to him. Smith goes red by 9 thou. Easy E missed it by a bunch. He was 21 on the tree. He was there for the taking.
Yeah.
Definitely want to believe that. Don't forget, final call. You should be in the staging lanes. Final call. Dragsters are lane 3, 4, 5, and 6. Final call. Shane Stout and Brandon Taylor, the Alabama runner, taking on Shane Stout. He's your local Mickey Thompson dealer in the Coca-Cola side, one of the supporters here at MIR. Winner, chicken dinner. Shane Stout getting it done. He was 001 on the tree. 13 on the dial, 14th thou package. Stout going to round number 2.
Yes, sir. We'll see how that.
He won a free weekend race entry, so he got into this event free, got into the Brodix Twin Tens free, got into the 50K event tomorrow free. That was a run for the money race last weekend here at MIR. And that was loud. Terry Sawyer out of Conroe, Texas, the runner. I think he's got a blower on that car. I think it's 2 cars that we've seen that got blowers on their car. Danny Nelson's got a, looks like a top dragster. He's got a blower on his car. Here's Mr. Million, TJ Tracy from right here in Millington.
Yeah, he works.
TJ Tracy, Mr. $1 Million Man, won the original million at Huntsville. Like to be able to take home a big paycheck here this weekend. Identical on the tree. Wind light goes Tracy. The $1 Million Man getting it done. Double breakout again. Took 3 thou. He was 14 on the tree. They're both 14 on the tree. Broke out by 9 thou. He's your winner, moving on into round number 2. Sawyer have to buy his way back in. If you want to see one of the best TNT race cars out there, one of the best examples of their machinery right there over on the left side of the racetrack, Jansen.
Yeah, that's Dale having it. Bad hot rod in the left hand.
Super fast car, top dragster extraordinaire. Okay. Tracy Sons driving. Dale Simon's car, Dixie House Cafe. That's one of the TNT machines. Gorgeous. Drop dead gorgeous machine. Dylan Bontrager bumping in. Wind light goes to Bontrager. He was 002 on the tree, broke out the least. Tracy got there first, took too much drive, broke out too much. Tell you what, he'll have to buy his way back in. Dylan Bontrager moving on to round number 2. Not a bad round number 1. A lot of breakout, a bunch of red lights. I bet that'll tighten up in round number 2.
Yeah, it will. Like I said, everything's going to. We had a major patterns and everything, so it's going to.
My mistake, we're still in round number 1. Here's Jim Shaw out of Davie, Florida. A long way to come race this weekend. Mike Smith is going to face him in Summit side. Roanoke, Alabama. Seems like there's several of those guys from Roanoke.
Yeah, I think you got the Stricklands and the Smiths.
What's up with that Nick Folk being listed as being from Red Bay, Alabama? I don't know what's up with that. Jim Shaw out of Davie, Florida. The runner on the Coca-Cola side.
Probably spent time with him this weekend.
Oh, he's hanging out with them, so didn't want to make the long drive from Illinois. One light goes to Smith, the Alabama runner. Hey, don't forget, if you're not in the lanes, you should be here. You should be in the staging lanes right now for round number 1. Hey, don't forget, buybacks are available. We'll have the buyback round, and the winners there, they'll be moving on into round number 2. Brandon Jarrell. Brandon Jarrell, your winner. He's 4 on the tree. Goes 5:06. Driver not on file breaks out. Took too much stripe. Those drivers, the not on file drivers, they take too much stripe. They do that all the time.
And just dropped it like it's hot and got the win. That's all that matters.
Not on file guys, man. I tell you what. Those guys double tough. Got beat. Don't forget, you should be there if you are not. Just about done in round number 1. Well, we're trying to figure this out. Ed Hines out of Little Rock, that's part of the Danny Nelson team. Over in the Coca-Cola side, hey, do you know that guy?
What?
There we go. Danny Joe must have jumped in somebody's car. Oh, look at that. Easy-E's happy down there. Is he driving for you, Edmund? Yep, I guess so. Danny Joe Melton, hey, you got to be proud. Dad just got the win.
Hey, I'm always proud.
There we go. He takes out Ed Hines. DJ Tracy jumped in the other team car, the other Danny Nelson car. Here's the top dragster. The other one looks like he runs a little more in quick rod. Kevin Rodden, running out of Cleveland, Tennessee. Chattanooga. He came a long way to drive. Should be in the staging lanes if you are not. You just about missed. Away they go. Win light goes to Kevin Rodden. Well, the car works for sure. He goes 4 on the tree. Breaks out by 2 thou. TJ Tracy got there first by .0001 and got beat. Margin of victory, 0.06 of a second. Rodden goes into round number 2. All right, here we go. These are your buybacks for the buyback round of the door cars. Ron Minton out of Millington, Tennessee. Greg Toy out of Glenwood, Arkansas. Toy goes red. Minton, your automatic winner. Minton advancing into round number 2. Toy's night is done. All right, here we go. Kevin Rodden out of Cleveland, Mississippi, that is. Eric Hubbard right here in Memphis, Tennessee. Eric Hubbard, by the way, is Scooter Brothers' right-hand man over at Comp Cams. Winlight Rodden. 11 on the tree. 2 on the dial. 13 package. Moving on. Hubbard's night is done. Kenny Peace and Greg Spencer. Peace in the station wagon. Spencer in the Camaro. Peace goes red. Spencer goes on to round 2. He goes 628 on a 629, 109 miles an hour. He is moving on. Here we go. Says Tracy Sons driving one of Dale Simon's cars. Little Caboose in the Duster, upholding the Mopar family tradition. AJ Ash and Little Caboose. Winlight goes to the Caboose. Your winner moving on into round number 2. Tell you what, I'm checking out the action. RaceDataShop.com. That is super cool. 4-camera setup. All right, here's our Puerto Rican runner, Carlos Diaz Reyes from San Juan, Puerto Rico, in the door car. That's the Red Vega. Charlie Coates out of Laurel, Mississippi. Dragster in the Summit side. Mississippi versus Puerto Rico. Twin light to Mississippi. Charlie Coates takes out Carlos Diaz Reyes. Hopefully Carlos will be back tomorrow. How cool is that? Came all the way from Puerto Rico to race here this weekend. Next up, Mike Eccles, Arlington, Texas. And the Coca-Cola side. Watching on the interweb, that's farthest from the camera. John Herring out of Mena, Arkansas. Runner on the lane nearest to the camera would be the Summit side. Eccles goes red, Herring your automatic winner. That is so cool. I've only seen that one other time in drag racing. That is to see all 4 cameras working. That's so cool. There you see a cool shot of back looking toward the starting line right here in Memphis. So glad to have the track back up and running and back in action. And the heat keeping a lot of folks away today, but if you're watching on the interweb, we're certainly glad you're here. Chatting over there. Glad you're here joining us. Whether you're watching at home or in the shop, wherever you're at. Rick Taylor. Door car. Take it on Red Bay, Alabama's Jason Folk. He's not from Red Bay, Alabama. Plus he just moved down there for the weekend. They're off from Illinois. Have been for the last 100 years. Folk in the door car. Taylor driving the Rich Powder Coating Special. He's got 2 cars here this weekend. All right, Alan Wickle out of Saraland, Alabama. Here comes the hitman, Buddy Farrell. Right here out of Brighton, Tennessee. He lives about 25 minutes away. Want to send a big shout out to all of our friends watching online from Napa Auto Parts. Hitman going to round number 2. Double breakout. He takes the win by that much. Wickle got there first, took too much stripe, broke out too much. Holy cow. Please let me look the other way. Good Lord, I just saw something no human man should ever have to see. Larry Meadows out of Byhalia, Mississippi, taking on Kenny Smith out of Morgantown, Indiana. Winlight, Meadows, double breakout again. Tell you what, the guys are still going under. That's how tough the competition is. All right, here we go. Jesse Bobo in the car, farthest from the camera. Bubba Smith out of Heidelberg, Mississippi, the lane nearest to the camera. That's the black dragster. Jesse Bobo driving the American Coca-Cola side of the track. Winlight Bobo. Smith's night is done. Jesse goes 005, double breakout, margin of victory 9 thou. Next up, Jason Rich, Cookeville, Tennessee runner. The car closest to the camera. Brad Taylor out of Bullard, Texas. Farthest from the camera, that's the Coca-Cola side here at the track. Look at that. Jason Rich goes trip, zip, and still gets beat. Brad Taylor, how about this? 9 on the tree, 2 on the dial, 11 thou package, margin of victory, .003. Dylan Bontrager, the runner out of Texas. I learned how to pronounce that from listening to my good buddy friend who is no longer with us. Absolutely. Big thumbs up. Thank you. You get a dinner on the house. Pam will pay for dinner. Dylan Bontrager, Danny Nelson headed down track. Winlight goes in the Texas lane. Bontrager, your winner. Takes the win, margin of victory, 5 thou, double breakout again. Temperature 84, balmy 84 degrees. We're going to have to break out our windbreakers. Ryan Anglin and Brandon Taylor headed down track. Winlight goes to part of that Roanoke Mafia. Taylor, margin of victory 2 thou. Brian Garner. Driver not on file takes the win over Brian Garner. Darren Garner out there. Part of that Mid-South Racers team. Cody Graham, wanna be a player. Take it on Jeremy Watkins, the Rolla, Missouri runner. Graham moving on. Double breakout. He was there for the taking. Nice shirt. I want one of those shirts. One of those shirts. I want one of those shirts. There we go. All right, here we go. Justin Bowers taking on Lee Ivy. This ought to be a good race. Justin Bowers, second generation runner out of Munford, Tennessee. Local. Lee Ivy, transmission shop owner out of Benton, Kentucky. Bowers goes red. Ivy, 10 on the tree, 11 on the dial, 21 package. That would have been tough to beat. Wynette Hudgens, pride of Texas, has her car painted Texas red, white, and blue. Taking on Danny Schubert out of Olive Branch, Mississippi. Schubert in the car, farthest from the camera. Wynette, I think she's already jumped in the TNT 64 car shootout. I think. Wynette, the win. Schubert misses the tree big time. His night is done in the twin 10. Wynette goes 469, 148 to pick up the win. Well, we think it's Tracy Sons. Or it could be A.J. Ash. Casey Carpenter picks up the win over Ryan Dillman. As the lights are finally on here in Memphis, sun begins to set over the west. Racing action is certainly going to pick up big time. Temperature at 84 degrees, down from about 197. Here's Labute, senior, taking on Cody Wiggins, the runner out of Kentucky. The black racks are farthest from the camera. Winlight senior, look at him go, 13 on the tree, dead on. Cody Wiggins missed the tree, and his night is done. He'll have to jump on into the TNT shootout coming up here in a bit. TJ Tracy taking on Bart Nelson. This should be a good race. Nelson, the Texas runner, in the car farthest from the camera. Coca-Cola side here at the track. Tracy closest to the camera. Summit side. Green light's a pair. Wind light goes to Bart Nelson. Tracy missed the tree. Double breakout. Nelson moving on into round number 2. Tracy's night is done. And Hines and Jeremy Maples. Arkansas and Oklahoma on the line. Maples in that gorgeous green dragster. Unsporting the wing. Hines out of Team Racecraft. Wind light to Hines. Double breakout again. But it didn't matter because Jeremy Maples tossed it on the tree. Led by 10. Round number 2. John Tommy Kelly. The Florida runner. Kelly out of Louisiana. The car with the gorgeous paint job. You can see it right there on Race Data Shop. Cool, because I'm watching the stream. I'm watching the screen too. First, Shaw goes red. Kelly, your winner. Kelly moving on into round number 2. Timothy Smith, part of that Roanoke Mafia. Roanoke, Alabama. Taking on Terry Sawyer. Thank you. Wind light goes to Texas. All right, here's Tyler Eccles, Texas runner, making the solo pass. Here we go, door cars. Round 1 winners, buyback round winners, you should be in lanes 1 and 2. Bye does carry over. Once again, the bye carries over. Dragster winners, for round number 1. And the buyback dragster round winners, you should be in lanes 3 and 4. How's that trying to simplify it? Dragster winners for round 1 and for the buyback round to lanes 3 and 4. Sun begins to set to the west. And it's going to get nice and cool. We're going to have some really good racing coming right at you in just a minute. All right, here we go. Round number 2. Up first. This should be a good race. Landry 4, Gulfport, Mississippi. In the lane next to the camera. The lane farthest from the camera, Travis Eaton, Waynesboro, Tennessee. Eaton goes red. His night is done. Went red by 12. 4 red lighted right after him. Dylan Bontrager and Brad Taylor. Please see Chris Barker in race control at soon as possible. Brad Taylor and Dylan Bontrager, please see Chris Barker in the announcer's booth as soon as possible. Kenny Underwood out of Tampa, Florida. Clint Dishman out of Bruce, Mississippi. This ought to be a prime time matchup. These are 2 double tough customers. Both of them tougher than a $2 steak. Underwood driving the Jegs Camaro. Dishman driving the car a whole lot of folks have driven. Adam Davis has driven it. Brian Robinson's driven it. This is a fast-running Vega, and they're off. Advantage, Dishman, win light, Underwood, double breakout. Underwood wins by 3 foul. Frank Cahotek and Clint Dishman. Again, we need Brad Taylor and Dylan Bontrager to see Chris Barker in the announcer booth ASAP. Ron Minton and Frank Cahotek. Winlight, Cahotek. Vega takes the win. Moving on, Cahotek was 001 on the tree. Alan Jarvis, New Albany, Mississippi, in the pickup. Here's Little Caboose, the Plymouth Duster. Caboose, White House, Tennessee. About cleaned up last year at the Spring Fling. Winlight Caboose. Takes the win and moving on into round number 3. Kevin Rodden. Okay, now I'm confused. One of them says Cleveland, Mississippi. One of them says Cleveland, Tennessee. I'm going from Cleveland, Tennessee because I know where that's at. Brandon Jarrell out of Ashland City, Tennessee. Win light to Jarrell. Looks like he's got his car running right. Transmission problems earlier, but everything clean and green. He is moving on. Harry Sawyer out of Conroe, Texas. Fulcher out of Whiteville, Tennessee. Short cars, you should be in the staging lanes. Round number 1 and 2. Dragsters, you should be in lanes 3 and 4. Door cars in 1 and 2. Dragsters in 3 and 4. If you are not there, you are late. Win light goes to Sawyer, the Texas runner. Margin of victory, 17 thou. Fulcher broke out, took too much stripe. Greg Spencer and Chris Edison. Edison, the Corvette out of Mineral Wells, Texas, farthest from the camera. That's the Coca-Cola side. Spencer and the Camaro closest to the camera. Summit side of the racetrack. Charlie Bottoms, Rogersville, Arkansas. Ryan Dillman out of Indianapolis in the crop top Corvette. Win light goes to Dillman. Travis Eaton and John Beeson. Beeson in the dragster out of Missouri. Eaton, the Chevy Monza. Out of Waynesboro, Tennessee. Win light to Missouri. Eaton took too much stripe, broke out doing it. Beeson moving on into round number 3. Bobby Johns goes red. John Herring, your winner, moving on into round number 3. John Hanson, Palm Beach Gardens, Florida, came a long way to race this weekend. Taking on Brandon Taylor, part of that Roanoke Mafia, Roanoke, Alabama. This should be a good race. Went like to Hanson. Moving on into round number 3. Levi Toe, Stacy Tritch. Tritch out of Arkansas. Parago, Glenwood, Arkansas for Levi Toe. Levi moving on, and he is staying alive. Brandon Caples, Wynette Hudgens. Wynette, the pride of Texas. 1,500 miles from Clyde, Texas. 689 miles, came all the way to race. Her and the guy Hanson from Palm Beach Gardens, Florida, they might be tied for the long distance award. Yeah, that's a long swim, a long drive. Long way in the house. Brandon Caples out of West Monroe, Louisiana. Winlight goes to Caples. Look at that, margin of victory, .004. Caples moving on. Wynette, her night is done. Jason Folk, transplanted Illinois, and did I say that right? Looks like he's living in Red Bay, Alabama, at least for this race. Taking on Dylan Bontrager. 2 double tough racers. Winlight, Dylan takes the win. Margin of victory, .004. Puts out Jason Folk. Art Nelson, pride of LaPorte, Texas, taking on Charlie Coates out of Laurel, Mississippi. Here's a tough race right here. Charlie Coates out of Mississippi in the car closest to the camera. Nelson out of Texas, the car farthest from the camera. Red light start for Charlie ball. Nelson moves on. All right. For all the local runners, this right here, primetime matchup. You're liable to see these two guys matched up in the final round at any track within about a 75-mile radius. Cody Graham, want to be a player. RT Turbines machine in the car farthest from the camera. Buddy Farrell, now known as the Hitman, are closest to the camera, running out of Farrell's transmissions. This right here, for the local runners, is worth the price of admission right here. Winlight, Hitman, he's 7 on the tree, 2 on the dial, 9th thou package. Graham Cracker just crumbled. His night is done. Farrell moving on. David Eubanks and Scott Cook. Cook out of Missouri in the lane farthest from the camera. David Eubanks closest to the camera. Green lights a pair. There they go, Missouri and Arkansas. Winlight, Arkansas. Eubanks makes the win. He was 009 on the tree. Cook missed the tree, and his night is done for the night. Eubanks moving on into round number 3. Thought it'd be a good race right here. Larry Meadows, Coca-Cola side. Farthest from the camera, Troy Coughlin Jr. in the Jegs machine. Win light to the Jegs team. Troy moving on. He's 16 on the tree, 4 on the dial, 20th thou package, margin of victory .008. Bunch of zeros. Lee Ivy, transmission shop owner out of Benton, Kentucky, taking on Travis Cannon, that good-looking hot rod, closest to the camera. Cool, I've never done this before. I'm actually watching the race live streaming on racedatashop.com, as well as through the CompuLink system. So it's pretty cool. Winlight, Travis Cannon, Oklahoma runner, won it by that much for Lee Ivy. Tyler Roach, Tommy Kelly. Roach out of Jonesboro, Arkansas, runs here at the track here in Memphis, regular. He's a regular competitor here. Tommy Kelly came all the way from Louisiana. Kelly farthest from the camera. Roach nearest to the camera. Margin of victory, .003 for Tommy Kelly. 7 inches for the win. D-Hub and Greg Brotherton. Derek Hubbard driving for Dan Lippy and the Racecraft machine. Greg Brotherton, the Brodix team. Brodix team car. They're part of the fun here this weekend. Matter of fact, this is round 2 of the Brodix Twin 10s. A big thank you to the folks from Brodix for being a part of the fun. Well, there he goes red. Just as soon as you start bragging on him, he goes red by 3 thou. Derek Hubbard moving on into round number 3. This right here ought to be a good matchup. Both of these guys come from a family history of a long line of winners. Summit side, closest to the camera, Ryan Richardson from up around close to Nashville. Coca-Cola side, farthest from the camera, Jeff Strickland out of Illinois. I think him and Nick Foe probably traded houses. Something like that. Strickland, farthest from the camera. Ryan Richardson, nearest to the camera on the Summit side. Look at this. Margin of victory. The distance, 1.9 inches. Win light, Ryan Richardson. Margin of victory as the numbers go, .002. That is close right there. All right, here we go. Mike Smith, the runner closest to the camera. Greg Roberts, the runner farthest from the camera. Tyler Rose out of Tyler, Texas. Lovely and talented Katie Armitage making an appearance here. Glad to have her here along for the fun. Going to be a whole lot of fun here tonight. She's the public relations manager here at Memphis International Raceway and does a fantastic job of it. Win light goes to Mike Smith as he takes out Greg Roberts. Margin of victory, 11 thou. Smith moving on. Roberts, his night is done here in the Brodix Twin 10s. Also want to say a big thank you to the folks from Advanced Product Design. They're jumping on board this year for the events that are promoted by Danny's Sons. If you run the decal, run the carburetor, you win an event, you'll win a brand new carburetor. How cool is that? A.J. Ash driving for Dale Simon, the Dixie House Cafe machine, the TNT machine closest to the camera. Alan Wickel, the Alabama runner on the Coca-Cola side, farthest from the camera. Win light to Wickel. AJ's night is done in the dragster. Jeffrey Jarrell, runner out of Jolton, Tennessee. I believe that's one of Little Labusa's cars, if I'm right. Stacy Tritch out of Paragould, Arkansas. And the driver, he's in the driver farthest from the camera. He just redlined. Tritch's night is done. Jarrell moving on. Stephen McCrory, and Jeff Bobo. Jeff Bobo driving the car that his son won for him at the Jegs U.S. Open last year in Bowling Green. Stephen McCrory out of Georgia. Drop dead gorgeous paint job. A good paint job is good for at least a tenth of a second on the racetrack. McCrory picks up the win. There you go. That just illustrates it right there. Lovely and talented Katie Armitage checking out the live video stream going out all over the interweb on 4 different websites. You can check it out right there. Brand new technology has never been done. That would be cool to see in our local media because that's new technology that's being introduced right here at the racetrack here in Memphis. Has never been done before here. And we're breaking new ground right here at MIR here tonight. Jesse Bobo over Rashad Blakely. There they go. Bobo picking up the win. Winning the American. He is moving on into round number next. Brad Taylor and Stacy Carpenter. Taylor out of Texas in the car farthest from the camera. Stacy Carpenter, Leroy, the pride and joy of Leroy, Alabama. Is that right? Okay, it's what it says. Hey, Augie, you're on camera. Millions of people can see Augie McCauley right now out there. He's famous. I think we ought to get Augie to go over and kiss the camera. Win light goes to Brad Taylor, the Texas runner, margin of victory .008. Tyler Eccles, Dakota Lowry. Here you go. This is something cool, Katie. One of these drivers came all the way from Florida, the driver closest to the camera. Driver farthest from the camera came all the way from Texas. Shows the reach of motion, the reach of the track. Everybody doing a great job to produce a great event. I'd hear the Rodix Twin Tens here tonight. Florida runner goes red by 1 foul. Tyler Eccles, your winner. Bob Henry in the Race Tech. Closest to the camera. Tony Newberry out of, all right, I know this one's true, Wiener, Arkansas. I think some of these guys are playing games with me on where they're from. All right. Lovely and talented Katie Armitage up here checking things out. Checking out the new technology available. Brand new, cutting edge, never been done at a big money bracket race here at MIR before. Henry, the dragster with the wing on the back of it, and Newberry, green lights a pair. Win light to Henry. He's moving on to round number next. This is a good matchup to a couple of local runners. Trying to be a player, Shane Stout, 2011 Mullis. Verified player, TJ Tracy, in the racecraft, driving for Parts Pro. Tracy, your winner, Jane broke out. Took too much stripe. Tracy moving on to the next round. Junior Stout, certainly want to say thank you to him for being a supporter here at Memphis International Raceway. That's Hub City Tire, your authorized Mickey Thompson Performance Wheels and Tire distributor in the area. If you're looking for new tires, Mickey Thompson is certainly worth trying and checking out. That's Hub City Tire in Jackson, Tennessee. Troy Williams Jr. and Terry Sawyer. B-Dub goes red. Sawyer, tooth out the right way, then breaks out. But he's got the win because Williams broke out in by fourth. Williams went red rather by fourth thou. Wade White, Brandon Jarrell. Brandon Jarrell, Ashland City, Tennessee. The MIR Special. No, wait a minute. That's the Race Data Shop card. What you talking about, man? RaceDataShop.com special taking on Wade White. Look at that. Race Data Shop moving on into round number next. All right. I'm not going to call him the king. Somebody else can call him that. I'm going to call him Easy-E. I'll tell him I called him that. Actually, he's a pretty good guy. Edmund Richardson, Greenbrier, Tennessee. It's up around Nashville. Taking on Jimmy Smith out of Roanoke, Alabama. Part of that Roanoke Mafia. See him a lot on drag race results. Easy-E closest to the camera. Smith gonna try to take him out. Nope, goes red by a bunch. Big Ed goes 460 on 461, moving on at round number 3. Here comes Junior. My mistake, here comes Senior. That's the big caboose, Johnny Labute. Tracy's sons, driving for Dale Simon. Big Labute takes him out. Labute moving on to round number next. Rick Taylor, Rick's powder coating team, Democrat Road right here in town, taking on Ed Hines out of Little Rock, part of the Team Racecraft team. This is round number 2 of the Brodix Twin 10. Big Ed goes red by 1 thou. Taylor moving on, the Rick's powder coating team. Look at him, he's going to round number 3. All right, Frank Kahutek, taking on Little Caboose. Winlight Caboose. He's moving on to round number next. Here is going to be a good matchup. Ryan Richardson, part of that Racing Richardson family. Edmund and all 12 of his sons taking on Dylan Bontrager. Dylan closest to the camera. Ryan Richardson farthest from the camera in the Coca-Cola lane. Winlight, Flying Ryan. Margin of victory, .004, equates to 11 inches on the screen and the track. That's cool. Craig Brotherton, part of the Team Broderick's team, taking on Kevin Rodden out of Cleveland. Let's see. Well, there's a Cleveland in Ohio. K&R team, part of the fun here at the Dixie House Cafe Ironman 50K. Both of these cars giving away prizes at the 50K tomorrow. K&R goes red, Broderick's is moving on. Well, it's always good to have folks here visiting here in the announce booth with you. J to the Z, Jansen Melton was up here doing a little bit of color commentary earlier. One of the local racers, I used to call him the kid. Well, he's not a kid anymore. Now I'm calling him wannabe. Because he want to be a player. Prime time player. Like at big money races like right here. Messing up my phone. Hey, Cody Graham, glad to have you here up in the tower.
What do you think, Glenn?
Yeah, well, I tell you what, saw you racing Buddy Farrell, and I just gave him a new nickname. I called him the Hitman.
Oh, Buddy's a robot. He tears you up just about every pass. I went down there, and he had a 7th out package on me, so I just had to drop him like it's hot.
Tell you what, 7th out package, not a lot of wiggle room out there, but anyway, we're coming up in round number 3 and bringing up the door cars right here. So of all the folks that you've seen out there in Raceland right here at Memphis International Raceway, who would you put your money on to win the race here tonight?
I had to go with Buddy Farrell in the dragster in his car. He's a robot, like I said. He's on it.
You think he's going to take out all the primetime players that came in from all over the country? He's going to defend his local turf.
Oh, yeah, this is his home track. He's been on a mission for the past couple of weeks. He's dead on. Just sit back and watch.
All right, here we go. There's your prediction right there. Well, here's your primetime player right here. White House, Tennessee's the Little Caboose, Johnny Labute Jr., taking on Frank Cahudic. No, we won't say that. He's part of the TNT team, running out of Texas. These are two primetime players right here. Cahudic, been around it for a long time. Little Labute, he's given up the spot for about half a second right here. Away they go. Green light's a pair. Wind light goes. Little Caboose, I tell you what, he dropped it on him. He was 8th thou on the tree, Cody.
He had no room to do it. He did perfect down there.
Margin of victory, 0.03 of a second. takes out Frank Kahudik. He was 8 on the tree, 5 on the dial. That is 13th foul. Ryan Dillman out of Indianapolis in the crop top Corvette. Used to call them a drop top if they were a convertible, but they just cropped the top right off of it. Chris Edison out of Mineral Wells, Texas. 63 Corvette. I tell you what, I'm picking the Corvette to win this race.
I think you're going to be right on this one.
There you go. The announcer finally got one right. Look at that right there, trip, zip, double breakout. We say, Jansen Melton and I were speculating that the track was tightening up. Edison, trip, zip on the tree, takes a double breakout win.
You know, that's...
Tell you what, we'll come back to you. Yeah, you're going to have to learn. That's calling you wannabe. You want to be a lot of stuff. Keep practicing, you will be. You'll be all right. All right, here we go. Who's next up? Terry Sawyer out of Conroe, Texas. I know you recognize the name over in the closest to the camera.
Oh yeah, and they're pretty hard hitters.
Eddie Underwood out of Tampa, Florida came all the way. Part of the Jakes team. Matter of fact, they rolled in here yesterday around noon on Thursday. Came to the local test and tune last night. Underwood out of Florida. Sawyer out of Texas. This ought to be a prime time matchup between two heavy-hitting door cars. Underwood the winner. Look at him go.
Can't win with the 095 light.
Underwood 5 on the tree. It goes 605 on 602. Sawyer missed the tree. John Hanson came all the way from Palm Beach Gardens, Florida. Either him or Wynette Hudgens probably had the long distance award. Tyler Crosno came all the way from Bells, Tennessee. He's got the short distance award. John Hanson, dragster farthest from the camera. Win light goes to Hanson. Beeson. Second generation winner, Ryan Richardson taking on Alan Wickel. Ryan Richardson, Greenbrier, Tennessee. Alan Wickel out of Alabama. Here we go. Winner, Richardson, takes on 4th thou margin of victory to move on into round number 4. Eric Hubbard and David Eubanks. Hubbard, out of the Comp Cams team. David Eubanks, Jonesboro, Arkansas. Eubanks in the car closest to the camera. Hubbard goes red. Eubanks clean and green. And he is moving on. Rick Taylor by Hailey, Mississippi. Johnny Labute, Big Labute, driving a probably a handmade, home-built hot rod. Taylor out of the Rick's powder coating team. Win light. Hey, he's been doing it forever. Margin of victory 006, 16 inches. Labute takes the win over Rick Taylor. Brandon Jarrell taking on Troy Coughlin Jr. in the Jigs team. This right here ought to be a pretty good matchup, Cody Graham.
Oh yeah, Jaggy Boy put it on me earlier with a 6-foul package first round.
And Troy Coughlin Jr. taking on Brandon Jarrell in the RaceDataShop.com team. Off and running. Green light to pair at the stripe. Jarrell takes the win for RaceDataShop.com. High fives all around down on the starting line. The guys are digging it. Brandon Caples out of West Monroe, Louisiana, taking on Travis Cannon. If I can figure out how to run this thing. Travis Cannon out of Oklahoma. Brandon Caples out of Louisiana. A couple of D4 runners. IHRA as well as the others. Cannon in the camera closest to the... Cannon in the race car closest to the camera. I'll try to get it right this time. Caples, the Coca-Cola side, goes red by 1 foul. Cannon trip, zip, perfect, breaks out by 1 foul. Almost perfect. All right. What was that? Did you hear it? I didn't hear it. All right. All right. Mike Smith taking on Tommy Kelly. Agent battle going on. Mike Smith nearest the camera. Tommy Kelly farthest from the camera. They're in. Smith goes red by 3 foul. Kelly, the Louisiana runner, moving on. Jeffrey Jarrell, Jolton, Tennessee. I believe he's driving Little Caboose's car. Jesse Bobo driving the Bobo car. I think that's the American that they bought about a year ago. Jesse Bobo, the guy's been double tough lately. Cody Grant.
Oh, I gotta pull for Jesse. He's our local runner. He's one of my buddies.
Runner taking on Nashville runner Jeffrey Jarrellton. Jarrell out of Jolton, Tennessee, up near around Nashville. They're in. Look at Jesse Bobo, Mr. Thursday, trying to become Mr. Friday Night. Margin of victory, 7 foul. Takes out Jeffrey Jarrell in the Team Labute car. All right, Tyler Eccles, the runner out of, I think he's from Texas. We'll get this straightened out. And newly christened the Hitman, here's Buddy Farrell.
Yeah, here's my pick in the left-hand lane to win it all tonight.
Cody Graham Cracker says he's going to pick Buddy Farrell to win the whole thing, this whole shooting match here at the Brodix Twin 10. Hitman taking him out. Took him out by 22 inches. Margin of victory, .008. Brad Taylor, Texas runner, farthest from the camera. Stephen McCrory, Georgia runner, in that trademark drop dead gorgeous. Look at that. Taylor takes the win by 4th thou. McCrory broke out by 2 thou. What they call it. Here we go. Let me get this right over here. Bart Nelson, Texas runner farthest from the camera. Levi Toke from Glenwood, Arkansas. That's what it says on the screens. I don't write them, I just read them. 10th of a second head start going to Nelson. Nelson is a prime-time player trying to pick up the win here on the Brodix Twin 10 Friday. Nelson, the winner, margin of victory, .002 by 6 inches over Levi. Dylan Bontrager, the Texas runner, taking on John Herring out of Mena, Arkansas. And I'm Mena, he's from Arkansas. Herring in the car closest to the camera. That's the Summit side if you're here at the track. Bontrager on the Coca-Cola side. That's farthest from the camera. Bontrager, longtime runner out of Texas. They're bumping in. They're in. I don't know. Dylan goes red by 1 thou, hands the win to Herring. And I mean, that was a big win. All right, here we go. We finally got it straightened out. Greg Brotherton, another Mena, Arkansas. Brodix team car. This is the Brodix Twin 10 here on Friday. Don't forget, Sunday's race has been combined into Saturday, as have the purses. It's going to be prime time. Thanks to Brodix. They're also one of the partners providing one of the best losing packages tomorrow. BJ Tracy, Summit side. Winlight, $1 Million Man, dropped him like he's hot. Tracy, a 15 package, margin of victory, .02. Takes out Greg Brotherton. Bob Henry, I think he's out of Oklahoma. Blake Richardson, out of Gleason, Tennessee, or Red Bay, Illinois, something like that. Blake Richardson out of Red Bay, Illinois. Winlight, Blake Richardson out of Red Bay, Illinois, goes 5:05 at 1:36, margin of victory .01. Here comes Dad, Just watch Sun go down the pair before him. Easy E, that's what I'm calling him. Because it is easy for him to win races. Edmund Richardson, Greenbrier, Mississippi, taking on Terry Sawyer of Conroe, Texas. Green light's a pair. Away they go. Win light goes to Easy E. Well, foul package for Edmund, and as he moves on into the next round. Brandon Jarrell, Ashland City, Tennessee. I think he's had a couple of wins this year up at Tentuck. Johnny Labute Jr., his little caboose. I think he's had a couple of wins all over the country. He just about steamrolled, just about freight trained everybody at the Spring Fling last year. Trying to do the same thing this weekend. Something didn't happen. A little abuse. He'll take the win. All right, if you're not in the lanes, you're officially late. Because you should be there now. All right, if you're out there watching in Cyberland on the interweb, this right here is worth your price of admission. Plymouth Duster, farthest from the camera, Coca-Cola side, Johnny Labute Jr., the little caboose, in the Camaro, part of the team Jigs. Kenny Underwood, underdog from Tampa, Florida, in the Camaro, closest to the camera. You guys destroyed my tablet. Underwood in the Camaro, Labute in the Duster. Underwood goes red by 12. Labute would have been tough. Look at that. 5 on the tree, 3 on the dial, 8 thou package, takes the win. You got to fix it. Takes the win over Kenny Underwood. Here are 2 of the most long-distance runners. Palm Beach Gardens, Florida's favorite son, Don Hanson. Mineral Wells, Texas, Chris Edison in the door car. All right, Edison in the door car, 63 Corvette Roadster. Hanson, the dragster, closest, farthest from the camera. Winlight, Chris Edison. All right, here we go. Tommy Kelly, the runner out of Louisiana. Brian Richardson out of Red Bay, Illinois. Or maybe Red Bay, Florida. There we go. How about Red Bay, Florida? That'll work. Greenbrier, Texas. Out of Dad's Racing Camp. All right, winner goes to Tommy Kelly. Takes out Ryan Richardson. Here comes the hitman, Buddy Farrell, taking on Brandon Jarrell. Now, if he adopts that name and comes up with a slogan and a logo and starts making money off of it, I want a commission. Absolutely, I will in a heartbeat. Brandon Jarrell, the Ashland City, Tennessee runner, taking on the hitman Buddy Farrell from Brighton, Tennessee. Farrell
Got Jesse Bobo on the Coca-Cola lane out of Walnut, Mississippi. Got David Eubanks out of Jonesboro, Arkansas in the Summit lane. Here we go.
Lord, man, we got to help. We got to work on that. David Eubanks, Jonesboro, Arkansas. Jesse Bobo, Walnut, Mississippi. They're in. Just about even on the hit. Winlight goes to Bobo. Mr. Thursday, 001, margin of victory, 3.3 inches by distance on the track. Bobo, Staying Alive. We need that app. The Staying Alive app from the Bee Gees. 1975. It is disco. It's old school. Where's Disco Dean when you need it? Mark Nelson. Runner out of Texas. Mark Nelson, the runner out of Texas. John Herring, runner out of Arkansas, closest to the screen. Closest to the camera, rather. Here we go. Your Hot Rod doing play-by-play, color commentary by the Graham Cracker himself, Cody Graham.
Oh, it's like that, Glenn.
That's right, it's like that. This is my turf up here. Bart Nelson, the Texas runner, taking on John Herring. Winlight goes to Herring. He is moving on into round number next. All right. You want to see a primetime player? Two of them, as a matter of fact. Cody Graham's going to tell you who it is.
Got little Johnny Labute Sr. in the Coca-Cola lane. And we got Easy E in the Summit lane.
Yeah, so there we go, Easy E closest to the camera. That's Big Labute. Big Labute has won the Ultimate 64. I think Big Labute has won the Million too, if I'm right. You name it, he's won it. Trying to win it here tonight at the Brodix Twin Twins. The Ironman 50K. They're in. Win light, Easy E takes out the loose caboose. Caboose couldn't run the number. Easy E was 12, 5, 17. All right, Blake Richardson out of Red Bay, Manitoba, taking on TJ Tracy right here out of Millington, Tennessee. Richardson, second generation runner. Tracy, the $1 Million Man.
Blake Richardson throws a package down on Mr. Million. 001 on the tree for Richardson. Dead 7. 8 thou package. TJ Tracy done from the starting line. 22 and 2 above.
And TJ missed the tree. TJ missed the tree. Blake took advantage of him, put TJ in the trailer. And TJ moving on to the round number next.
Brad Taylor, one of the Texas runners out here. 471 dialing on the dragster. Labute Jr. 493 on the dragster out of White House, Tennessee. Heavy hitters right here. Taylor and Labute coming to the line.
Primetime players a pair. Labute farthest from the camera. Taylor closest to the camera. We'll try to get it sorted out up here. Taylor out of Texas, Labute out of Tennessee. There they go. Even at the head, win light goes to Labute by 33 inches. He goes 94 on a 93, 133 miles an hour to take the win. Travis Cannon, the runner out of Oklahoma. He's picking up the bye run right here.
Travis Cannon showing why he got the bye run. 002 on the tree. 507 out the back door.
Cannon moving on into round number 5. The Oklahoma runner is going to see if he can't do some damage here at the Brodix Twin 10. Well, it just became a single. He just lost his twin, if I can get the words out right. Because don't forget, we've doubled up everything from Sunday. We've rolled it right into Saturday. All right, here we go, round number 5. This ought to be worth the price of admission. Joining me here in the tower, J to the Z, Jansen Melton, doing some color commentary. Johnny Labute Jr. and Buddy Farrell.
I believe whoever wins this race is going to win the whole event.
Winlight, Caboose, takes the win. Caboose in the door car, 6 on the tree, 4 on the dial, 10th dial package. Hitman's night was over. He was 11 on the tree, Jansen.
Yeah, he was 11, one above with a 7. Labute got there first by 18 thou. Margin of victory, 18 thou.
All right, Travis Cannon, the Oklahoma runner closest to the camera. John Herring out of Mena, Arkansas. Mena, this ought to be good right here. The guys that are left in are certainly specialists in big money bracket racing, Jansen.
Yeah, these two are fixing to duel it out. Let's see who comes out on top. I'm still impressed. Very impressive. I've seen a lot of stuff, and for Blake to do what he's doing tonight, it's amazing.
Staging battle going on. A la Steve Carbone and Don Garlitz in 69 or 1968 at the U.S. Nationals. Something.
Oh, the flicker messed them both up. We got a 41 to 93.
Winlight, Travis Cannon, the Oklahoma runner, margin of victory, .005.
That was definitely an ugly race. I think the flicker of the light definitely messed him up.
Sometimes when you do that, that little bulb flickering on you kind of messes with your concentration, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah, there's nothing worse than to the car malfunction. It looked like he had a problem with the transmission rolling through the lights, probably getting a little heat in it right now. Late in the rounds, they'll do that.
This ought to be one that you ought to be paying particular attention to. Blake Richardson running out of Gleason, Ottawa, Ontario. Taking on Jesse Bobo out of Walnut, Mississippi.
34 light for Richardson, 006 for Bobo. Bobo pulls it out, takes the stripe by 17th thou. He's one above with a 9. Richardson's dead on with an 8, but he was late, 34 light.
All right, here we go. Easy E. That's what I call him. A lot of folks call him a lot of other stuff. I call him Easy E because it's easy for him to win anywhere. Edmund Richardson taking on Tommy Kelly, the Louisiana runner, taking on Richardson from up around Nashville. I think that Easy E's son is, or he's driven one of you guys' cars or something like that, Jansen. Something like that.
Yeah, Edmund had a couple of our cars at one time. He kind of, you never know what Edmund's going to do. He's always got something new brewing.
Look at that. Easy E. It's easy to go red. He goes red by 6th thou. Tommy Kelly picking up the win. Look at that. Kelly, 10 on the tree. Perfect. A 10 on the tree, 8 on the dial, 18th thou package. He was there for the taking. Easy E, it goes easy red.
Yeah, that was very uncharacteristic of Edmund to go red on that pass, but, you know, it happens. Everybody's done it. And try again tomorrow. I guarantee tomorrow he'll make a showing.
Yeah, my dad told me a long time ago, if you're not red lighting every now and then, you're not trying hard enough.
Yeah, definitely. You will go red. I mean, that's just part of the racing.
So we're down there talking to Danny Joe Melton, brand new hot rod, and had some transmission problems.
Yeah, I made one pass on a new transmission, and looks like we burn up a pump. Don't really. In, we'll be ready for tomorrow.
So there you have it, and like we mentioned, the shop's not too far away either. All right, Jay-Z, tell them about it. This might be a good race right here.
Yeah, in the Summit lane we have Chris Eitson, and the Coca-Cola lane we have John Labute Jr. I believe he's won about every race that he's ended over the years, whether it be... Well, he actually won, 4 races one year at Spring. Has a resume that most would much about Chris. So, happens.
Chris Edison in the door car closest to the camera. Little Labute, the caboose, the Coca-Cola side here at the track farthest from the camera. He's going to be giving up over a second to the door car. Here they go.
Throttle stop kicks off. Let's see what happens. Oh, he pulls it out.
Look at that. The caboose breaks out by a thou. Took just a touch too much strike. A touch too much.
Yeah, it just shows you that anything can happen. I mean, that's uncharacteristic of Labute to take. He took about, he took a 20 foul and broke out 1 foul. And he usually doesn't do that. But, you know, this is racing. Anything can happen, and that just shows you.
A super huge thank you. Again, we cannot say thank you enough to everybody who's helped make this. You know, all the folks working behind the scenes, folks like Dale Simon from Dixie House Cafe, a huge part of this event. And he is a huge supporter of racing. And without folks like him around, you know, who knows what would happen. Certainly want to say thank you so much to Dale Simon, everybody from Dixie House Cafe, for being a part of the Ironman 50K this year. Hey, Jansen, we got some really cool prizes that are going on. You can read the list of all the best winter supporting companies.
We have packages from Mickey Thompson, Hoosier, Goodyear, Quick Fuel, Folk Race Cars, Fab Shop, K&R, and Brodix. We'd like to thank all those sponsors for giving out packages, or prizes to the losing packages. And they've done a lot for the racing over the years. These names are very familiar. They always come up, and we appreciate everything they do.
That's like a who's who in sportsman drag racing. Of course, and that's going to be going on tomorrow during the main event. And don't forget, the main event has been even bigger. So now it's not just main, it's gigantic, it's colossal, something like that. They've rolled Sunday's event, the Brodix 10, into the main event tomorrow. Purse is going to be combined. And of course, the first time trial starting tomorrow, 5 o'clock. The run, that means most of the racing is going to be what Labute just did. But, you know, breaking out by 2 or 3 hundredths, and that was in round number 1. But sun went down, the track's starting to tighten up, everybody's starting to tighten up on their dial-ins, and the racing just kind of picked up.
It's definitely going to be some great racing tomorrow. Definitely want to come back out for that one if you're out there spectating, all 10 of you.
That's right. Glenn Williford here calling the action. J to the Z, Jansen Melton sitting in here with us, and we'll be right back after this quick message from our friends at Comp Cams. Comp Cams, a leader in aftermarket performance for over 35 years. Comp Cams provides the valve train components that will make your ride a winner. Built by the industry's largest and most experienced team of engineers, our products are designed and tested to perform, whether you're using them on the track or on the street. What's more, all of our parts are backed by a talented and dedicated support staff, available when you need them. From weekend warriors to professional racers and everyone in between, Comp Cams is devoted to performance. For the web's most complete valve train resource, visit compcams.com. That's compcams.com. All right, I hear race cars. And here they come. All right, this ought to be a good race. Both racers not on file. Well, not yet. All right. This is going to be fun. Tell you who's coming up. J to the Z.
All right, the Summit lane nearest to the camera, we have Jesse Bobo. Out of Walnut, Mississippi, in the Coca-Cola lane, we have Travis Cannon, Noble, Oklahoma.
Oklahoma on the Coca-Cola side. That's farthest from the camera. Nearest to the camera, Jesse Bobo. That's Mr. Thursday, trying to become Mr. Friday. On two of the big money bracket races on Thursday, he's had some success. The million at Muncie, we mentioned earlier, he picked up a $10,000 to win. And then the Jegs U.S. Open last year at Bowling Green, he won a Danny Nelson Racecraft Dragster. All right, they're in. Windlight, Jay Bobo, look at him go. Margin of victory, the distance, about 3 feet. 468 on 467. Margin of victory, 1900, as he takes out the Oklahoma runner. All right, coming up, Tommy Kelly, the runner of the Coca-Cola side. Farthest from the camera, Chris Eidson, Mineral Wells, Texas. The crop top 1963 Corvette, the door car. He is staying alive. Trying to do my best Bee Gees impersonation. And I tell you what, when Cody Graham and his girlfriend and Tyler Crossnow were up here, they were ripping on me for doing my Bee Gees bit.
Oh, I want to hear it. Hey, what about the car with the neon orange roll cage?
Neon orange roll cage. He's off and running. Here comes Tommy Kelly. I'm trying to run him down top end. No, sir. Look at that go. Eidson was 26 with a 1 on 25. He was 1 on the tree. Margin of victory, 25 thou. Taking the win and moving on. And here we go, one more door car. A couple of door cars left. Hey, everybody knows this guy, Jay-Z.
Yeah, John Labute Jr. I mean, you know, dragster, door car, it doesn't matter. He's going to get it done, and he's definitely getting it done tonight.
Getting her done in the door car. Picking the lane nearest the camera right there. Wanting to show everybody out on the interweb what kind of cool car he's got. Plymouth Duster. This is a cool looking car, Jay-Z.
Yeah, it definitely is. I want to see if he's going to show his hand or not.
Typically running in the lane farthest from the camera. Switching lanes for the single pass. Here's Johnny Labuse Jr.
Exit out, goes 1 thou under. He's dialed in.
Missed the dial by 1, goes under by 1 thou. He's 25 on the trees. A good thing he wasn't running anybody, because he would have been there for the taking, Jay.
Yeah, he was a little slow, but you know, knowing him, he could have put it in just to throw somebody off. I mean, you never know.
There you go. Johnny Labuse Jr. down to the next round. He'll be going into round number next. Don't forget, as soon as you get your car cooled, we want you right back around trying to get the race done so everybody can head to Tunica the way it sounds.
Well, here it goes, folks. We got our monster matchup between Jesse Bobo and Johnny Labuse Jr., so definitely be watching this race.
Door car versus dragster, the never-ending battle of the good versus evil. The door cars want to beat up on the dragsters want to beat up on the door cars. Here we go. Dragster closest to the camera on dragstory.com and racedatashop.com. Johnny Labuse Jr., White House, Tennessee's favorite son. Grew up in it. Watched his dad win just about everything.
And the same goes for Jesse Bobo. I remember Jeff Bobo racing when I was a kid. Had Bobo on the side of his, I think it was a Vega or
something like that. Probably had Bobo's auto electric on it. Both these guys second generation runners. Bobo giving the head start to Labuse. They're in. Look at that. Jesse Bobo takes out Labuse. Margin of victory, 12 thou by 27 inches. A cat's whisker. Bobo goes to the final round. Chris Eidson says, you know what, I don't want to run the car out. I'm just going to stage it, probably back right out of the staging beams.
Yeah, by now he's definitely...
Bobo was 30 on the tree.
Pass. He's just going to ease up there, back it up, and run the final round.
There we go. Eidson, that's all he's got to do. The car's got to stage itself, and he'll be coming back to race Jesse Bobo for all the Marbos. Southern matchup, Texas and Mississippi in the final round. That is going to be a whole lot of fun coming up. All right, now, who's going to start it? Somebody's pulling for Jesse Bobo. Somebody's pulling for Chris Eidson. Somebody's pulling for the dragsters. Somebody's pulling for the door cars. Somebody is walking away with a pile of cash, Jay-Z.
Yeah, definitely. I want to paint the next car fluorescent orange. I'm glad that.
Hey, tell you what, Chris Eidson wins, I'm going to see a whole bunch of cars with a roll cage painted fluorescent orange.
A lucky color, who knows? The first of 2 days of the Rodex, well, it's going to be just 10 today. But we got, actually we're 6 and 4. We got 6 Bobos and 4 for Eidson. So let's see who's right and who's wrong.
All right, wherever you are, in the pits, or watching online, here it comes. A whole lot of money.
We just had a last-minute vote for Eidson, so we're at 6 and 5.
There we go. Pretty even voting on dragstory.com out there on the interweb. The dragster nearest to the camera, that's the summit side here at the track, Jesse Bobo. The door car, the neon orange roll cage. Man, is that, you can see that from outer space on Google Earth. That's Chris Eidson, the runner out of Mineral Wells, Texas. He's typically been in the left lane, the lane closest to the camera. Bobo got him over in the right lane right here. Bobo in the dragster, that's the American chassis. Eidson, the crop top Corvette therein. Win light goes to Texas. Hook 'em horns. Chris Eidson, the Mineral Wells Texas runner, takes the win. Margin of victory, .004, as he'll pick up the big win. How about that, Jay-Z? The door car taking the win here tonight, here in Memphis.
Well, it's final. I'm painting my next rail fluorescent orange.
There you go. Chris Eidson's already having an impact on the folks here right now. Congratulations to Chris Eidson. Big tip of the cap to Jesse Bobo for holding up the local contingent. He goes to the final round only to be taken out by Eidson. Eidson was 22 on the tree, ran 27 with a 1 on 25, 125 miles an hour. Bobo will run down the numbers. He was 29 on the tree, ran 467 with an 8, at 141 miles an hour on a 466 dial. Margin of victory, .004 for the door car, Jay-Z.
Yeah, I can tell you, I hate to say it, but by the looks of it, it looks like Bobo gave it back. I mean, he was 141. He was out of it. So, it happens, and he had an amazing showing, runner-up finish, and congratulations again to Chris Eidson for pulling out the big 10K win tonight. I'm sure they'll go party down in Tunica.